Okay, in this episode of Mitzi Studio, we're going to learn about the 1972 and plane crash. People had to eat dead people.
I'm sure most of you have seen a thrilling plane crash movie at some point. If you've watched a few, you've probably noticed that survival rates in such fields are low.
Yeah, I kind of prefer eco-horror when it comes to disaster movies, like animals on the attack and stuff. I mean, I did see the trailer for Whalefall, and while it does interest me, the claustrophobia is a turn-off for me. It's not about zombie whales. It's not about whales with rabies. Yes, whales can get rabies. It's about a guy who lost his dad, is trying to get his dad's body out of the ocean, and as he's scuba diving, he accidentally gets in the way of it's actually in the area of a sperm whale going after a giant squid. The sperm whale eats the giant squid. The giant squid accidentally ends up dragging the guy into the whale's mouth with him. The guy accidentally gets eaten by a whale. Because yes, it is physically possible for a human being to get swallowed alive by a sperm whale. So yeah, another reason why I don't want to go swimming in the ocean.
Especially if the plane crashes in the mountains, where the chances of making it out alive might plummet even faster than the plane itself. That's why the story I'm about to tell you is truly chilling, literally and figuratively speaking. I am talking about the Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 disaster, also known as the 1972 Annie's plane crash. This event became one of the most extraordinary survival stories taking place in the vastness of the Andes Mountain range. Just like the plane, we are going to dive right into it. On October the 13th, 1972, a plane departed from Montevideo, Uruguay, carrying a rugby team to play a friendly match against another team in Santiago, Chile. To cross the Chilean border, the aircraft had to transcend the high peaks of the Andes Mountain range. Due to poor visibility and some impressive shitty navigation skills by the pilots, the plane started to descend for landing while still flying above the snow-covered ridges. Turbulence was now rocking the aircraft more and more. The young guys of the rugby team were joking about how they were about to crash into the Andes, which is a bit ironic, considering what was about to happen to everyone on board. By this time, the clouds were moving behind the plane. Instead of seeing the runway, the pilots enjoyed the beautiful 3,000-foot rock formation right in front of them, with roaring engines that were behind the plane, and instead of seeing the runway, the pilots enjoyed the...
Is this guy drinking one of those alcoholic balls?
Beautiful panoramic view of the 3,000-foot rock formation right in front of them, with roaring engines, the rear part of the aircraft, the fuselage and wings. Weirdly enough, the impact turned the front part of the fuselage into the world's largest bobsled, while the tail section went skydiving together with its passengers. The front part violently buried itself in a deep blanket of snow, killing and wounding several passengers, including the pilots. Soon after, the pilot that was still alive mumbled some words about how they passed the Andes Mountains over Querétaro, which was obviously bullshit and a clear indication of who was fucking up the navigation part. Not that it mattered a lot, because the surviving passengers found themselves stranded on a 12,000-foot high, snow-covered plane surrounded by nothing but mountains. Not long after the crash, the sun began to set, and the survivors were about to experience their first hellish night in sub-zero conditions. Of the 45 passengers, 33 people survived the initial crash, which is not too shabby for a plane crashing into a mountain. In the following days, the survivors began to take inventory of any supplies, looking for food and water as well. A few guys carried luggage around, forming a big X mark near the fuselage, hoping to make the site easier to find. During that time, multiple search and rescue planes were spotted, but none of the planes could see the wreckage, which figures, because from the air, the crash site probably would have looked like this. Good luck with that. Using a transistor radio and a makeshift antenna, the survivors were shocked to learn that the search operation was pulled off after 11 days. While suffering from extreme hunger, you can imagine the news did not land very well either for the rugby team. It became clear to some survivors they had to take drastic measures if they were to stay alive even a few more days.
Okay, this is gonna be morbid, but I would honestly probably start processing the corpses as a precaution. I mean, it's already cold. You got refrigeration right there. Probably figure out how to, like... Then you have to figure out how to thaw and cook it.
By now, the choice to resort to cannibalism became a loaded discussion within the group. Specifically, I'm talking about the moral dilemma they faced. Not if they were going to have a nice dry Chardonnay to go with their friend's back ribs. Oh, and white wine was not on the menu anyway, so that's too bad as well. And even if there was any, it would have made the whole thing slightly more romantic than it should have been. Let me show you.
Now I'm honestly thinking I should probably have some MREs on me just in case. Okay, I just get a little scratchy. Yeah. Ribeyes. Ew. Green free sorbet. Don't eat. I would not eat the rain though. Just irons.
Yeah, I think you get the point by now. Mildly inappropriate, to say the least.
Yeah.
Anyway, after some consideration by the group, they reckoned that death was inevitable if they deprived their bodies from any nutrition whatsoever. For that reason, they were going to cut flesh from the bodies of the deceased.
Yeah.
They started with the pilot, probably because he was the least popular in the group, crashing the plane and all. Not long after, they began to cut up the bodies of their fellow passengers. By eating human flesh, they regained strength and survived the following days and night. After more than 2 weeks, an avalanche filled the interior of the plane with snow, killing 8 more people. While being buried in snow, an intense blizzard kept the remaining survivors trapped for multiple days inside the fuselage. When the storm subsided, they dug a tunnel and freed themselves, which must have been nice, considering being buried for days between yet more dead people.
Yeah.
While searching the area around the crash site, a small group found the tail section of the plane.
Did they find their food?
Inside, the men found a battery, and they figured to use that battery to power a radio located in the cockpit back at the wreck site, which was a great idea, except for the part that it wasn't going to work.
Oh.
Despite the 12,000-foot elevation, the morale in the group was at an all-time low, as more and more people died from malnutrition and exposure. As a result, a final and desperate plan was forged to send out people on a hike and find a way out of the Andes mountain range towards the green Chilean plains.
Not wrong
Knowing they
plane,
would not
guys.
survive even one night out in the open, the survivors used isolation material from the plane's tail section to sew themselves a sleeping bag.
Smart.
They climbed for 3 days just to reach the first summit to the west. On top of the ridge, they hoped to see the green valleys of Chile. Instead, they saw only more mountains, which was a bummer. Since they already ate the pilots, there was nobody left to be mad at either. 2 of the 3 men continued the journey, taking the food of the 3rd guy to extend the hike. They slowly descended into a giant valley and disappeared as 2 little dots surrounded by glaciers and snow. After walking for 10 days straight, the 2 men encountered a Chilean shepherd, and within a couple knew they would all be rescued. 16 remaining survivors spent a total of 72 days in the Andes Mountains, facing extreme cold, starvation, and an avalanche. But hey, in the end, 16 people out of 45 survived the disaster. If you consider the lack of oxygen, extreme cold, starvation, and being buried by a frickin' avalanche, then, in a weird way, things could have been worse. Want to give another thanks to my sponsor?
Yeah, like everyone could have died. What would you do if you were in that situation? I would already be starting to dismantle the dead and taking the clothes off the bodies because people are going to need to have more clothes on. And right now I'm going to see how much ammo cost. Later,